This is a sports catastrophe production.
Hey there, hi there, ho there, it's Jeff Cutter Diamond welcoming you to another Sports Catastrophe Birthday Boy. The birthday boy for today, January the 20th, is a man who actually is a sports analyst for ABC and ESPN. He's actually the co-host of an ESPN talk show. He's part of NBA Countdown. And he produced the famous ESPN documentary, The Fab Five, in which he was part of the Fab Five. He is Jalen Rose, who's now 49 years old. He is memorable for being part of the University of Michigan's Fab Five, which drove them to the Final Fours and the championship games of the 92 and 93 NCAA basketball season. But he would play as a small forward for 6 teams. And he retired in 2007. Here's Jalen Rose. Jalen Rose never knew his biological father. His biological father actually was a number one pick in the NBA by the name of Jimmy Sky Walker, who actually was a decent player for Providence in the NCAA, but after that, he really wasn't much. But, Jimmy Walker knew that he had a son named Jalen. They met over the phone, but they never met in person. Jalen was huge and all that. Anyway, Jalen Rose was a star at Southwestern High School in Detroit. And then he ended up being part of the University of Michigan, helping Michigan get to the finals in 92 and 93. So he was part of the Fab Five, a group of 5 recruiting freshmen. The other 5 were Chris Webber, Juwan Howard, Jimmy King, and Ray Jackson. Jackson was a big flop. Jimmy King played for the Raptors, but he wasn't much. But Juwan Howard was a decent player for Washington, little else. And Chris Webber was the famous of the members, being a Sacramento King icon. All that. But anyway, he led the Fab Five in scoring with 17.6 points a game. He was the most outspoken of the Fab Five, but he was the small forward and leader. He did well. He was actually a versatile player. He was small forward and a point guard sometimes too. He was 6'8", close to his boyhood idol Magic Johnson, who was 6'9". Unfortunately, Rose got himself into trouble because of the University of Michigan boosters scandal. Rose did not take large amounts of money. Thank goodness for that. But that scandal would ruin Michigan and would force them to take down their banner celebrating the 92 and 93 season. A lot of people thought that, Michigan had buckled under the pressure, but, the scandal was huge. So Chris Webber was the big name for that. Anyway, Rose skipped his senior season at Michigan to go to the draft. And in the 94 draft, he was picked 13th overall by the Denver Nuggets. Wonder how many teams flubbed getting a small forward like Jalen Rose before Jalen Rose. Well, Milwaukee took Glenn Robinson, okay. Detroit took Grant Hill, good. Minnesota took Daniel Marshall, who would be okay, but he'd be much better off later in his career. Lamont Murray was taken by the Clippers. He was just basically a bust. And Seattle took Carlos Rogers, a small forward. Although Carlos Rogers was better known as being a Raptor. But yeah, Denver took him. After 2 years with Denver, he was traded to Indiana for Mark Jackson in a first-round pick, basically. So he did well for him in Indiana. Unfortunately, he was not accepted early on. He wouldn't play because of a coach's decision under Larry Brown. And Rose spoke out about the fact he was being used as a backup two-guard and small forward over his point guard presence. But Larry Bird, when he became the Pacers coach, actually said that Jalen Rose should be small forward and all that. Mm-hmm. Rose would help Indiana out as part of the Pacers squad to make it to 3 straight Eastern Finals in 98, 99, 2000. Unfortunately for them, they would fall in 98 to the Bulls, 99 to the Knicks somehow, and 2000 they actually did win the Eastern Conference Finals, so that got them a spot against the Lakers in the NBA Finals. Jalen Rose was named Most Improved Player of the Year. That was amazing and all that. Giving them the chance to play in the NBA Finals, giving Reggie maybe a chance for a ring. Unfortunately, though, he failed. Even though, Rose had 25 points per game in the 6-game series. The Lakers did win the series, but only in 6. Jalen Rose actually intentionally placed the foot underneath Kobe Bryant trying to injure Kobe. Kobe wouldn't play game 3, but he would be back for the rest of the series, so it failed. Anyway, Rose was traded a couple years later to Chicago alongside a second-round pick for Brad Miller and Ron Artest. But for the Bulls, he didn't play much. And then he was traded to Toronto alongside Donnell Marshall, his fellow 94 draft guy, and Lonnie Baxter. The Raptors had him for a few years, but then for salary cap reasons, they traded him alongside a first-round pick to the New York Knicks for Antonio Davis. Kind of weird how the Raptors would go for Antonio Davis, even though he was broken down and all that. It was basically the motivation was to free up cap space. Well, Rose had $16 million a year. I mean, I don't blame him. The Raptors were taking him, and the Raptors needed an experienced center, which was Antonio Davis, which he did okay. Funny thing was that Rose's final game for the Raptors was a home win against the Kings, in which he got the winning basket. Jalen Rose wanted to sign with Phoenix and all that, so he played one season with Phoenix and retired. Since he retired in 2007, Rose works for ABC/ESPN. He's an analyst on SportsCenter and then the host for NBA Countdown, which is the pregame stuff for ABC and ESPN before the games. Rose actually has done pretty well. He produced the ESPN documentary The Fab Five talking about it. It was one of the best documentaries around, all that. He co-hosts an ESPN radio show with David Jacoby called Jalen and Jacoby. So he's done very well for himself, being a social media guy, all that. So Rose played 923 games in his career with Denver, Indiana, Chicago, Toronto, New York, and Phoenix. 14.3 points a game, 3.8 assists per game, 3.5 rebounds. Again, he was okay in a sense, but he was just diminished. He had 3 long playoff runs with Indiana, 98, 99, 2000, getting to the Eastern Conference Final. Other than that, his playoffs was just sucky. Academy is an open enrollment tuition. Jalen Rose actually established the Jalen Rose Leadership Academy in Detroit. It's an open enrollment, tuition-free public charter high school on the northwest side of Detroit to help 400 9th to 12th grade students and all that. And every one of the academy's graduates gained college acceptance, trade/technical schools acceptance, or military acceptance. It's basically to help Detroit area youth achieve things. So anyway, Jalen Rose was around for Michigan stuff and all that. Rose married ESPN personality Molly Curran at a private ceremony in 2018, but he filed for divorce. Rose has 2 daughters and a son from a previous relationship, but basically Rose is now filed for divorce. He's going to be divorced. Not good, but he's a key guy on the pregame stuff for ABC/ESPN for the NBA. Can't beat that. Anyway, I'm Jeff Diamond. I do.